Okay, good morning, everybody. This is candidate Congressman John Kitover running the 16th District. I will be reading to you from the Enchiridion, the Golden Sayings of Epictetus. These are the discourses of Epictetus. I hope you enjoy. Okay, this is the Wisdom of Epictetus, read by candidate Congressman John Kitover. Okay, this is Philosophy and Wisdom of Epictetus, read by candidate John. Hope you enjoy. Okay, this is Philosophy and Wisdom of Epictetus by candidate John. Hope you enjoy this morning's book club. Sire, welcome. We're about to read from what's called a book. Okay, this is Wisdom, Philosophy, Meditation of Epictetus, read by Candidate John. Hope you enjoy. We've got not one viewer, as far as I can tell. We've achieved a state of parity. Equilibrium now. 6 minutes up. We're going to try to go to a different room, see if we can read something.
Praying or reading or something that will keep your mind engaged but allow you to not smoke. Like you just make that switch and then you can just fast for like a day or 2 days, just like fruit and water or milk and water or milk and fruits. You should be fine. The fasting really helps. It really burns, like you'll see that your stomach will start not be on fire, but you'll feel that fire in your stomach, and that will help you.
It's occupied. Something, it don't matter.
Charlie, I don't know if you can see us now, but if heaven has a...
Because part of your smoking
Sign this discharge petition. We only need 2 of them. Work for your own pleasure. And if it's happening...
Question.
Serendipity, can I ask you a question? I know it may be off topic what we're talking about.
Sure, go ahead.
Have you ever heard of a non-stimulant called Intuniv, or guanfacine is also known as?
I have not.
Okay, it's, with kids with ADHD, there's stimulants, the Adderall and the, now what's the other one? The Adderall and the Ritalin family, right?
Right.
And then you have the non-stimulant class, which is like the Strattera and, the other things, Intuniv, guanfacine, which the way those things work apparently is you have to take that every day. You can't miss a day, whereas with the stimulant, apparently you can miss a day or whatever. But, and it builds up in your system, and then eventually it works towards you. I just want to see what your thoughts are. They're not the same as the stimulants, but apparently they have the same desired effect. I don't know if you can look them up, but like ADHD non-stimulants, you'll see like Intuniv is one, Strattera. I'm just curious your thoughts, because you have a pretty good perspective. You got me to get her off the main stimulant, the Ritalin family. But
yeah, well, I will. I'll actually look into them, Naveen, and I'll get back to you.
Yeah.
How are you noticing it working for her?
Well, I mean, so Intuniv is more something for impulse.
Right.
So, she used to have this thing where she would constantly put her shirt in her mouth, or, she's 12, it's like, like it looks out of place now, when you do that kind of, when you're younger, it's like you can get away with it and all that, and so I see her doing it a little less. I see her being a little bit more conscious when she's doing it and able to control the impulse to like her feet or her fingers, or she used to have to bring something with her to squeeze in her hands to let her focus. Now she's able to. She's not necessarily getting better at focus. When she was on Ritalin, she used to be able to focus in the class, and then we'd give her Ritalin and this non-stimulant. But I see the impulse got a lot better. We're still focusing, still trying to get her focus back to where it was when she was on, the Ritalin.
Right.
But I took her off it because of the side effects of it. So, but the impulse is being controlled, and then they're saying, well, there's another non-stimulant that you could give if you want to go that route, and that controls focus back to where it was when she was on focus. Then why the hell are you giving me a stimulant? If the non-stimulant, it's really bizarre. So I'm just like, okay, now I'm like, this is shady. Like, what did I do? Did I do the right thing? So it's kind of, kind of weird.
Yeah, that's the thing is, I think mostly you have to communicate with her. You have to see how she's feeling about it, how it makes her feel, or are there any negative drawbacks to what she's doing, even if she's not getting the optimal focus results yet. she's still really young, and to some extent, like, I feel like those behaviors can be improved with maturity. And
people who are vaccinated, they can feel safe that they are not going to get infected.
I
got infected about 2 weeks ago.
I don't necessarily think it's a bad thing that somebody can't sit and focus on something for even an hour. I know my brain doesn't work that way. Like, I have to work them.
But, Sandy, I think the issue is, and I think a lot of it...
Wait, King, I hate to interrupt. Do you guys know what conversational hypnosis is?
So, what I would say is that, I think part of the problem is more about me and my psychology and what I went through when I was a kid, that I'm more worried she's going to go through. I mean, I do see her doing it when kids are saying to her, like, oh, you're weird, like, you won't shut up, or, and they'll say those things. And I just say, okay, avoid those kids. Find the kid that you like. But there is a kid that, she likes, and she sits and talks to, and she's like, you just said the same thing 3 times. And she's like, oh, okay. But at least the girl's nice enough to her. Go, no, sit next to me. I want to sit next to you. But focus back to what it was when she was on. Kind of guiding her, like, hey, don't get her beat yourself. Like, it doesn't look good. We are getting ready to take off. That kind of awareness helps. But, part of it is more me concerned because she's going to go through what I went with. And I do see a lot of girls do treat her like, they're already in the next phase, and every doctor, like psychologist type speaking, is being therapy. Like, look, her maturity is like 1 or 2 years behind. But it will be tough as she gets older because girls can be, moody and bratty, and they can do all this stuff. So it will be difficult. And you'll have to give her support so she doesn't get depressed. And I think part of it is me getting more frustrated at what I want her to be versus what she is. Because I end up like, sometimes I'll even mock her, and I'm like, why did I say it? I'll be like, why are you acting like a third?
You'll mock your daughter? You mock her?
And I'm like, why? And then I'm like, why did you just say that? But I get so frustrated. I'm like, you're doing something so simple and you can't do it. And I'm just like, oh man, what am I doing? So some of it is me too.
Let me tell you too, like, you have to kind of tackle some of those issues one at a time. I was going through, me and my daughter, we communicate really well together. Like, there's really not like a whole lot that we can't talk about and discuss. We started butting heads relentlessly because she cannot be on time. To save her life, she cannot be on time. You can tell the girl 3 days ahead of time, we're going to go do this at X time. Like, what do you need to do to get there? Like, it's very important. We got.
The joke's on you. Oh, just let it go.
Mother, she was in such disbelief. She couldn't believe it. And the way the man just held this 6-year-old daughter in his hands. It doesn't break your heart to want.
Okay, we're going into the book club. Okay, this is Epictetus' Wisdom and Philosophy. Welcome, Paola. We're about to read what's called a book. we have done scanning of what's available on Clubhouse, and we have found that it's the same thing. Damn, so in Great Britain, if you don't have a digital ID, you can't work there. They're gonna starve out their illegal immigrants. Okay, this is book club. 16 minutes setup to get here. We're ready to begin. Okay, without further ado, I give you Epictetus. This is just going to be 60-second snippets, and we're going to be creating clips on YouTube. These are the golden sayings. Are these the only works of providence in us? What words suffice to praise or set them forth? Had we but understanding, should we ever cease hymning, blessing the divine power, both openly and in secret, telling of his gracious gifts, whether digging or plowing or eating, should we not sing the hymn to God? Great is God, for that he had given us such instruments to till the ground withal. Great is God, for that he had given us hands and the power of swallowing and digesting, of unconsciously growing and breathing while we sleep. Thus should we ever have sung, yea, and this the grandest and divinest hymn of all. Great is God, for that he hath given us a mind to apprehend these things and duly to use them. What then? Seeing that most of you are blinded, should there not be someone to fill this place and sing the hymn to God on behalf of all men? What else can I, that am old and lame, do but sing to God? Were I a nightingale, I should do after the manner of a nightingale. Were I a swan, I should do after the manner of a swan. But now, since I am a reasonable being, I must sing to God. That is my work, I do it. Nor will I desert this my post, as long as it is granted me to hold it, and upon you too I call to join in this self-same hymn. Okay, that's part one of Epictetus. This is your morning intelligence meditation on knowledge, philosophy, and wisdom with Candidate John, reading to you from what's called a book. People don't know what books are anymore. They just do conversational hypnosis with each other. They just talk all the time about nothing. No real intelligence. Here we go. Part two. How then do men act, as though one returning to his country who had sojourned for the night in a fair inn should be so captivated thereby as to take up his abode there? Friend, thou hast forgotten thine intention. This was not thy destination, but only lay on the way thither. Nay, but it is a proper place. And how many more of the sort there be only to pass through upon thy way? The purpose was to return to thy country. to relieve thy kinsmen's fears for thee, thyself to discharge the duties of a citizen, to marry a wife, to beget offspring, and to fill the appointed round of office. Thou didst not come to choose out what places are most pleasant, but rather to return to that wherein thou wast born, and where thou wert appointed to be a citizen. Try to enjoy the great festival of life with other men. But I have one whom I must please, to whom I must be subject, whom I must obey, God, those who come next to him. He hath entrusted me with myself. He hath made my will subject to myself alone, and given me rules for the right use thereof. Rufus used to say, if you have leisure to praise me, what I say is not. In truth he spoke in such wise that each of us who sat there thought that someone had accused him to Rufus. So surely did he lay his finger on the very deeds we did, so surely display the faults of each before his very eyes. But what saith God? Had it been possible, Epictetus, I would have made both thy body of thine and thy possessions free and unimpeded. But as it is, be not deceived, it is not thine own, it is but finely tempered clay. Since then this I could not do, I have given thee a portion of myself, in the power of desiring and declining, and of pursuing and avoiding, and in a word the power of dealing with the things of sense. And if thou neglect not this, but place all that thou hast therein, thou shalt never be let or hindered, thou shalt never lament, thou shalt not blame or flatter any. What then? Seemeth this to thee a little thing? God forbid. Be content then therewith. And so I pray the gods. That is part 2 of Epictetus. Okay, here's part 3. What saith Antisthenes? Hast thou never heard? It is a kingly thing, Osiris, to do well and to be evil spoken of. Aye, but to debase myself thus were unworthy of me. That, said Epictetus, is for you to consider, not for me. You know yourself what you are worth in your own eyes, and at what price you will sell yourself. For men sell themselves at various prices. This was why, when Florus was deliberating whether he should appear at Nero's shows, taking part in the performance himself, Agrippinus replied, appear by all means. And when Florus inquired, but why do not you appear? He answered, because I do not even consider the question. For the man who has once stooped to consider such questions and to reckon up the value of external things is not far from forgetting what manner of man he is. Why? What is it that you ask of me? Is death preferable of life or life? I reply, life. Pain or pleasure? I reply, pleasure. Well, but if I do not act, I shall lose my head. Then go and act. But for my part, I will not act. Why? Because you think yourself but one among the many threads which make up the texture of the doublet. You should aim at being like men in general, just as your thread has no ambition either to be anything distinguished compared with the other threads. But I desire to be the purple, that small and shining part which makes the rest seem fair and beautiful. Why then do you bid me become even as the multitude? Then were I no longer the purple. If a man could be thoroughly penetrated as he ought, with this thought that we are all in a special manner sprung from God, and that God is the Father of all men as well as of gods, full surely he would never conceive aught ignoble or base of himself. Okay, this is part 3 of Epictetus, founder of the Stoic school of philosophy. Hope you're enjoying this morning meditation with candidate John Kitover. Go to johnforcongress.com. Okay, it's part 4. Whereas if Caesar were to adopt you, your haughty looks would be intolerable. Will you not be elated at knowing that you are the Son of God? Now, however, it is not so with us. But seeing that in our birth these two things are commingled, the body which we share with the animals, and the reason and thought which we share with the gods, many decline towards this unhappy kinship with the dead, few rise to the blessed kinship with the divine, since then every one must deal with each thing according to the view which he forms about it. Those few who hold that they are born for fidelity, modesty, and unerring sureness in dealing with the things of sense, never conceive aught base or ignoble of themselves, but the multitude the contrary. Why, what am I, a wretched human creature with this miserable flesh of mine? Miserable indeed, but you have something better than that paltry flesh of yours. Why then cling to the one and neglect the other? Thou art but a poor soul laden with a lifeless body. The other day I had an iron lamp placed beside my household gods. I heard a noise at the door. On hastening down, found my lamp carried off. I reflected that the culprit was in no very strange case. Tomorrow, my friend, I said, you will find an earthenware lamp, for a man can only lose what he has. That is the sayings of Epictetus, the Enchiridion, the golden sayings. That's part 4, read by candidate John. If you're enjoying this philosophy, hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, share the video on your X account, on your Instagram story. That's right. This is called intelligence. Many people have never read this book. Hope you're enjoying. All right, part 4 or 5. We're going to try to get to 10 parts. The reason why I lost my lamp was that the thief was superior to me in vigilance. He paid, however, this price for the lamp, that in exchange for it he consented to become a thief, in exchange for it to become faithless. But God hath introduced man to be a spectator of himself and of his works, not a spectator only, but also an interpreter of them. Wherefore it is a shame for man to begin and to leave off where the brutes do. Rather he should begin there and leave off where nature leaves off in us, and that is at contemplation and understanding. and a manner of life that is in harmony with herself. See then that ye die not without being spectators of these things. You journey to Olympia to see the work of Phidias, and each of you holds it a misfortune not to have beheld these things before you die. Whereas when there is no need even to take a journey, but you are on the spot with the works before you, have you no care to contemplate and study these? Will you not then perceive either who you are unto, or unto what end you were born, or for what purpose the power of contemplation has been bestowed upon you? Well, but in life there are some things disagreeable and hard to bear, and are there none at Olympia? Are you not scorched by the heat? Are you not cramped for room? Have you not to bathe with discomfort? Are you not drenched when it rains? Have you not to endure the clamor, shouting, and such annoyances as these? Well, I suppose you set all this over against the splendor of the spectacle, and bear it patiently. What then? Have you not received powers wherewith to endure all that comes to pass? Have you not received greatness of heart, received courage, received fortitude? What care I if I am great of heart, for aught that can come to pass? What shall cast me down or disturb me? What shall seem painful? Shall I not use the power to the end for which I received it, instead of moaning and wailing over what comes to pass? There's a reading of Epictetus. It's part 5, read by Candidate John. Halfway there. We're doing 10 minutes of Stoic philosophy with Epictetus. If what philosophers say of the kinship of God and man be true, what remains for man to do but as Socrates did? Never, when asked one's country, to answer, I am an Athenian or a Corinthian, but I am a citizen of the world. He that hath grasped the administration of the world, who hath learned that this community, which consists of God and men, is the foremost and mightiest and most comprehensive of all, that from God have descended the germs of life, not to my father only and father's father, but to all things that are born and grow upon the earth, and in an especial manner to those endowed with reason, for those only are by their nature fitted to hold communion with God, being by means of reason conjoined with him. Why should not such an one call himself a citizen of the world? Why not a son of God? Why should he fear aught that comes to pass among men? Shall kinship with Caesar or any other of the great at Rome be enough to hedge men around with safety and consideration, without a thought of apprehension? While to have God for our Maker and Father and kinsman, shall not this set us free from sorrows and fears? Okay, that's part 6 of Epictetus. This is Candidate John doing a meditation this morning with the Enchiridion, the golden sayings and discourses of Epictetus. Okay, this is part 7. I do not think that an old fellow like me need have been sitting here to try and prevent your entertaining abject notions of yourselves, and talking of yourselves in an abject and ignoble way, but to prevent there being by chance among you any such young men as, after recognizing their kindred to the gods and their bondage in these chains of the body and its manifold necessities, should desire to cast them off as burdens too grievous to be borne, and depart to their true kindred. This is the struggle in which your master and teacher were he worthy of the name should be engaged, you would come to me and say, Epictetus, we can no longer endure being chained to this wretched body, giving it food and drink and rest and purification, aye, and for its sake forced to be subservient to this man and that. Are not these things indifferent and nothing to us? Is it not true that death is no evil? Are we not in a manner kinsmen of the gods, and have we not come from them? Let us depart thither whence we came. Let us be freed from these chains that confine and press us down. Here are thieves and robbers and tribunals, and they that are called tyrants, who deem that they have after a fashion power over us, because of the miserable body and what appertains to it. Let us show them that they have power over none. Okay, this is part 7. And to this I reply, friends, wait for God. When he gives the signal and releases you from this service, then depart to him. But for the present, endure to dwell in the place wherein he hath assigned you your post. Short indeed is the time of your habitation therein, and easy to those that are thus minded. What tyrant, what robber, what tribunals have any terrors for those who thus esteem the body and all that belong to it as of no account? Stay, depart not rashly hence. Something like that is what should pass between a teacher and ingenious youths. As it is, what does pass? The teacher is a lifeless body, and you are lifeless bodies yourselves. When you have had enough to eat today, you sit down and weep about tomorrow's food. Slave! If you have it, well and good. If not, you will depart. Door is open. Why lament? What further room is there for tears? What further occasion for flattery? Why should one envy another? Why should you stand in awe of them that have much or are placed in power, especially if they be also strong and passionate? Why? What should they do to us? What they can do, we will not regard. What does concern us that they cannot do? Who then shall still rule one that is thus minded? This is Candidate John reading the Enchiridion, the Golden Sayings of Epictetus. That's part 7. These are 60-second shorts for YouTube. We're reading the Stoic philosophy of Epictetus. I hope you're enjoying. Hit the like button. Subscribe now. Share the video. This is part 8. We're doing 10 parts. Seeing this then, and noting well the faculties which you have, you should say, send now, O God, any trial that thou wilt. Lo, I have means and powers given me by thee, to acquit myself with honor through whatever comes to pass. No, but there you sit, trembling for fear certain things should come to pass, and moaning and groaning and lamenting over what does come to pass. And then you upbraid the gods. Such meanness of spirit can have but one result, impiety. Yet God has not only given us these faculties by means of which we may bear everything that comes to pass without being crushed or depressed thereby, but like a good king and father, he has given us this without let or hindrance, placed wholly at our own disposition, without reserving to himself any power of impediment or restraint. Though possessing all these things free and all your own, you do not use them. You do not perceive what it is you have received, nor whence it comes, but sit moaning, groaning, some of you blind to the giver, making no acknowledgement to your benefactor, others basely giving themselves to complaints and accusations against God. Yet what faculties and powers you possess for attaining courage and greatness of heart, I can easily show you. What you have for upbraiding and accusation, it is for you to show me. This is Candidate John reading Epictetus, the Golden Sayings, otherwise known as the Enchiridion. This is the school of Stoic philosophy. Philosophy and wisdom. Hope you're enjoying. Okay, this is part 9. How did Socrates bear himself in this regard? How else then as became one who was fully assured that he was the kinsman of the gods? If God had made that part of his own nature which he severed from himself and gave to us liable to be hindered or constrained either by himself or any other, he would not have been God, nor would he have been taking care of us as he ought. If you choose, you are free. If you choose, you need blame no man, accuse no man. All things will be at once according to your mind and according to the mind of God. Petrification is of 2 sorts. There is petrification of the understanding and also of the sense of shame. This happens when a man obstinately refuses to acknowledge plain truths and persists in maintaining what is self-contradictory. Most of us dread mortification of the body and would spare no pains to escape anything of that kind. But of mortification of the soul we are utterly heedless. With regard indeed to the soul, if a man is in such a state as to be incapable of following or understanding anything, I grant you we do think him in a bad way. But mortification of the sense of shame and modesty we go so far as to dub strength of mind. This is the Golden Sayings of Epictetus, read to you by Candidate John. That was part 9. We are just about completed. If you're enjoying this wisdom and philosophy reading room in the book club, hit that like button, share, subscribe, post this live stream to your Instagram, to your X account. Don't be ashamed. I'm reading a book for you, and I hope you're enjoying. Okay, this is part 10. Here we go. If we were as intent upon our own business as the old fellows at Rome are upon what interests them, we too might perhaps accomplish something. I know a man older than I am, now superintendent of the corn market at Rome, and I remember when he passed through this place on his way back from exile, what an account he gave me of his former life, declaring that for the future, once home again, his only care should be to pass his remaining years in quiet and tranquillity. For how few years I have left, he cried, that I said you will not do. But the moment the scent of Rome is in your nostrils, you will forget it all. And if you can but gain admission to court, you will be glad enough to elbow your way in and thank God for it. Epictetus, he replied, if ever you find me setting as much as 1 foot within the court, think what you will of me. Well, as it was, what did he do? Ere he ever entered the city, he was met by a despatch from the emperor. He took it and forgot the whole of his resolutions. From that moment, he has been piling one thing upon another. Should like to be beside him to remind him of what he said when passing this way, and to add how much better a prophet I am than you. What then? Do I say man is not made for an active life? Far from it. But there is a great difference between other men's occupations and ours. A glance at theirs will make it clear to you. All day long they do nothing but calculate, contrive, consult how to wring the profit out of foodstuffs, farm plots, and the like. Whereas I entreat you to learn what the administration of the world is, and what place a being endowed with reason holds therein, to consider what you are yourself, and wherein your good and evil consists. Okay, this is Candidate John. We just read 10 parts of Epictetus. This is Wisdom and Philosophy, the Golden Sayings of Epictetus, and Enchiridion. Hope you've enjoyed it. I'm going to take a reading break. We're going to jump into a clubhouse room and see if it's possible to read 60 seconds of Tanya or 60 seconds of Toira. Can't see the rooms anymore.
relationship with a woman from Bamber Bridge on May 28th.
So you had to get busy.
Okay. Can't really see anything, so we're going to shut this down and send this recording to the printers. Hope everybody has enjoyed. Thanks so much. Go to johnforcongress.com.